Hey everyone, thanks again for joining me in the new edition of EGM Weekly. This episode, or newsletter, however we want to call it, is building off of last week's. Last week we talked about not majoring in the minors, or we're not focusing on all the tiny minutia that can become overwhelming for us as goalies. But instead, what I want to talk about is how success comes from simplicity. And again, like going back to things is 99% of the goalies need to be better at the basics, the skating, the tracking, the positioning, and you're probably sick of it. And you're like, Jamie, yes, we know. No, you don't know, because I see it every single day. I see goalies doing the most ridiculous, dumb drills all the time, when all you need to do is what? Keep it simple. First of all, simplicity works. There's a reason for it. And in goaltending, it's easy to get lost in the weeds, and it's easy to think that we need to do more. And it just comes in everything, you know. You have some teams that play 90 games a season, and more is not better. More is just more. And the same comes from your training. You know, let's go off ice for now. Off ice training. Do you need to do these crazy banded, double plyometric, single leg stability, BOSU? No. You need to get stronger. Go do some Bulgarian split squats. Go do some front squats. Go do some back squats. Go do some lunges. Go run. Go sprint. Run up a hill. You need to be more athletic. You don't need to do these crazy nonsense drills, because the drills, those nonsense drills, are just to get eyeballs, you know. And then like going into our like skating, you know, do you need to do crazy nonsense drills on the ice? No. But what do I see all the time? Crazy nonsense drills. Now again, crazy nonsense drills is what gets the foot into the door. However, when actually doing your drills, you need to focus on the fundamentals. So if someone who skate with me, and this is going to tie into a little bit of goaltending coaching methodology, but if you skate with me, you have definitely heard me say each shot is its own separate shot. In a game, there is only one puck. That is it. In drills, there really should only be one puck. I cannot stand drills where it's shot, 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 shot. And you're thinking, oh, that's like practice. Yes, I understand that practice structure for the most part isn't great. Hopefully everyone has progressive coaches that can design drills and practices that work for goalies. I've seen this in goalie coaching all the time, where it's out, quick, shot, and then shot to the blocker, and immediately recovery to the glove, and there's a rebound to the glove. That doesn't make sense. If you're making a blocker side shot, you should be following your rebound to the blocker side, you know. Or if you really want to play a rebound and have a secondary shot, lead them to the blocker side. You know, shoot it low blocker in order to create a rebound or to have a secondary puck that's on the blocker side. So when I'm creating a drill, let's just say it comes in and it's a 3-on-2 simulation followed by a low attack. What I'm creating is a 3-on-2 situation where the goalie makes their save, follows the rebound. There is a time between the two where the goalie has enough time to follow the rebound to reset, turning into a low attack. So yes, there are two shots in that drill, but they're two individual shots, so they're one of each shot, allowing the goalie to focus and refocus and adjust to whatever the task at hand is. Probably made that a little bit more confusing. Essentially, we're focusing on one shot each time in two different scenarios. Mainly, and then with that, and talking about simplicity, we also want to simplify our movement. Everything we do, and if you're in EGM labs or you skate with me, you've heard about movement efficiency or skating efficiency, trying to reduce the amount of noise in our movement. And I use the example of the movie Happy Feet with the penguin that dances, like their feet are going nonstop. And I see so many goalies that think if their feet are always moving, if they're always skating, if they're twitching, if they're like this, yeah, that's somehow going to make them better, or the coaches are going to think they're more dialed in. No, less is more, simple is better. Calm, smooth. We need that flow to our game, because when we get to the game, the more extra movement we have, the easier it is for us to play ourselves out of position. Next, And, focusing on the things that tracking, you can't do enough tracking, just straight up. You cannot do enough tracking. You need to be tracking more. You need to be doing off-ice tracking things. You need to go see a sports vision optometrist and make sure your eyes are in good shape. And then you need to make sure you're always starting every skating day with tracking. That leads from your off-ice warm-up into your drills, your everything, like making sure you're tracking. And then again, when it comes to tracking, keeping it simple. There is nothing wrong with just doing, hey, I want 20 glove, 20 blocker, where you're watching all the way in, drop it, all the way in, drop it, all the way in, drop it. Just getting good reps, getting everything warm so that when you get out into your normal drills or your normal practice, everything is starting to fire correct. I'll see goalies just like they come out and they want to do their warm up, they need to go bang, 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 bang. And it's like, I need to get the intensity up. No, you need to relax, you need to keep it simple because you are doing too much. And then when you go to the game, you're overthinking, you play yourself out of position, you get scored on. Third, make sure that, when we talk about keeping it simple, when you make changes, make small, simple changes to your game, especially older goalies. You've developed these patterns and this way you like to play. And if you need to change something, try not to reinvent your entire game in one session. Make small, meaningful changes and impactful changes that add up over time versus throwing everything in the kitchen sink. Right now we're getting close to the end of the season or tryout season. All of a sudden goalies are like, well, I need to get new skates, do this, I need to change this, I need to change that. I didn't like my stance. And all of a sudden, no. Relax. Try one thing at a time, adjust one thing at a time, and progress from there. And then finally, when it comes to training, this is actually probably the biggest one. This is why this topic even came up in my mind, was jumping around through training programs or always doing random exercises on the internet. Like, you need to focus on becoming a better athlete, focus on your weaknesses, whatever those might be in your game, and playing and training those with a structured plan and not jumping and deviating. A good training program, like the ones that I write and are available on my website, like they're 20, 25 weeks long. Like, that's a long time. That's 4 or 5 months of dedicated work in order to get us to one singular goal, making us a better athlete, which in turn is going to make us a better goalie. However, if you have like a 3-week mobility hack and 2-week to a stronger goalie or 3-week to more, and then you just like jump around those, you're not following any plan and you're just throwing things blindly, hoping it sticks, and there's no consistency. So you keep it simple with your training. It's actually one thing I've done is I have really simplified a lot of my training programs that I give athletes, where I used to be like, yeah, I'm gonna have all these crazy exercises because I'm so smart, I know all this stuff. Nah, I started to keep it simple. Like, keep things really simple and really effective. And that's where, your athletes are going to get the most bang for the buck. Is that 80-20 rule like we talked about last week? What are the 20% of the things giving us 80% of the results? And finding those and then really hammering those home and then trickling that last 20% in order to really like push them over the edge. So success comes from simplicity. You need to keep it simple. You need to keep your training simple. You don't need to do this razzmatazz crazy drills where you're jumping over sticks and balancing on one leg and blah, 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 blah. You need to focus on the basics, focus on the simple things that get the job done. And then once you've mastered them, and only once you've mastered those things, can you start to slowly add more and more advanced things into your training, both on and off the ice. Thanks for listening. Hope this makes sense. Thanks for listening to me ramble. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below or shoot me an email. I'm looking forward to hearing your